Hello my friends, welcome back in the Moonbunny's lair. I am Leith and I will be your card reader for today, even though actually I will be also my card reader for today, because this spread is not going to be a pick-a-pile reading, but one singular spread. So one singular reading for everyone who resonates with this topic. And the topic is approaching and embracing spirituality as a queer person. So I honestly wanted to make queer-themed readings, especially because we are in Pride Month, but I am honestly hoping to kickstart this type of readings in this month and then keep them going all year round. But I realized that oftentimes the most difficult part with spirituality as a queer person is to approach it, because there's plenty of things that seem either that they seem like they may not match with being queer, or that they have a community full of people who are not queer, and so we have the lifelong question of, are they not welcoming, or simply it hasn't happened that a queer people explicitly ask them if those contents are also for us. And in many cases actually the contents are for everyone. Okay, I have had interaction with some creators that are absolutely welcoming of queer people. They're simply not focused on queer people because they're not queer themselves. And of course there's also quite a few queer spiritual creators and spiritual workers, and I actually follow some of them on Instagram, but if you have any recommendation, please leave in the comment. But again, I feel that we are a minority in the spiritual community, in the spiritual realm. Okay, in the spiritual world, meaning between people who are spiritual on earth, because spirit world is another thing. But we are talking about people incarnated as queer people who want to approach spirituality, but at the same time they are a little bit worried or wary of it, and it might be because you don't know how much it's for you, or it could be because you don't want to lose your queer identity that you have found. In many cases, mine included, finally finding the right labels and the right identities takes a lot of time, and we are absolutely not up for losing them in favor of something else that we don't even know if it's going to resonate with us. So my personal point of view is that it's absolutely possible to be spiritual and queer. I admit though that it's not as easy as being, for example, a cis woman, okay, being spiritual, because most of a community, the spiritual community, is made by, and most of the times also for, cis women. And as a trans man myself, that sometimes alienates me a little bit, because being the only non-woman in a whole community of women sometimes honestly makes me feel sometimes even a little dysphoric. And I have this feeling of my experience, it's not like theirs, which is absolutely fine, because all of our experiences are unique. But it's also true that we may share some common traits if we share also some other traits, like being queer. So this spread is for everyone who wants to approach spirituality, but also who wants to fully embrace spirituality as a queer person, and not despite being queer, but being queer. Maybe even incorporating this being queer in their spiritual practice and in their spirituality in general. This is honestly also my own hope for my own spiritual practice. So again, this will be a reading both for myself and for all of you who resonate with this theme. Again, there's just one pile. We are going to start with these oracle cards, and then we will go on to the tarot decks. I am not sure if we will use one or two yet, so we will see. We will see what feels right. So we have, starting from the Archangel's Oracle, we have Chakra Clearing. Archangel Metatron, call upon me to clear and open your chakras using sacred geometric shapes. Then we have Pyrite, number 45. Then we have The Love Is in You, Codependency and Boundaries. Then we have Neptune, number 21. Can you see it if I put it here? Maybe. Let's put it here. Okay, way better. And then we have two of these Shaman Oracle, because I was aiming for one, but two came out, and who are we to deny one extra Oracle card? And we have the Witch. This is a connotation. I'm not sure if the exact translation is the Witch. The connotation is more on the darker side, okay? So not witch, what we mean, like someone who practices witchcraft, but someone who, according to the book, also doesn't use their power for good, but abuse it, or lets their ego, okay, take over. And then we have the Art of the Sky. Okay, so first of all, I want to say that Pyrite means protection and abundance. And while I was reading the meanings of the stone, I felt that it was kind of the message from Spirit that yes, it's possible. Don't worry. Like the confirmation, okay, the confirmation that it's absolutely possible to be both queer and spiritual people and even have a spiritual practice. Now, I want to say that spiritual practice means a lot of different things, okay? So you can resonate with card readings, you can resonate with being a witch, you can resonate with shamanism, you can resonate with more than one of these. Actually, I resonate with all three of these. You can resonate with a lot of other things, okay? So we're not focusing on one specific way, okay? We are asking Spirit how we can explore spirituality in all of its possible areas that might interest us. Of course, it's not necessary to explore all of them. If you're not interested in some, it's absolutely fair to leave them aside. I'm trying to put, okay, kind of. So, we have the Witch that talks about having a second chance, specifically in righting a wrongdoing, something wrong that you have done towards someone else. But I feel that the message of a second chance still stands regardless of the occasion. This might not be the first time some of you try to approach spirituality, and you might have been scared off or gotten overwhelmed by trying to navigate it as yourself. And the witch, I think that it's absolutely a message of a second chance, and at the same time it also talks about how everything is interconnected, because in the end, even if we don't really understand on earth, everything is interconnected, which means that also our spiritual identity and our queer identity somehow are interconnected. And they have how can I say? Not necessarily something in common, okay? But they can be different manifestations of the same thing, which is who we are. Because in the moment in which we are spiritual people and queer people, being spiritual and being queer are really two sides of the same coin, two parts that coexist to make us who we are and to express who we are and to live as who we are in the world, or in the privacy of our own home if it's unsafe for us to go in the world. Now, we have this chakra clearing. That is Archangel Metatron, and Archangel Metatron is always usually associated with geometric shapes, and indeed they are also mentioned here. If you have heard about the Merkaba, it's a geometric shape that is associated with Archangel Metatron, and I think that this message might be two messages actually, because on one side there's this call upon me. So know that in the spiritual realm there are the archangels, there are your own guides, your own angels, your spirit animal, and the higher self of your soul family. They're always ready to help and support you, especially the archangels and your spiritual team. They're here for you, okay? They're always here for you. They won't intervene in your life without your permission, but you can call for their help, even just for their comfort or their reassurance, wherever you want. I have just learned that the main difference between the archangels and other angels is that archangels can be in more than one place at the same time. And right now I'm feeling a shiver on my shoulder, so it might be a sign that someone is also here with me, or anyway confirming that they can be with literally possibly every person in this world, okay? So even if all of us who are watching this reading call upon Archangel Metatron, he will answer to all of us. And also open your chakras. Here it says using sacred geometric shapes, but there's this message of opening up and clearing and cleaning almost. Not in a there's some dirt, you need to clean it, but they have been unused for a lot of time. They're like covered in dust, so wipe them off and start using them again. Okay, so I think that the first one of the messages is to open up. Open up, and this is specifically about chakras, so it may resonate about chakras for a lot of you, but I was actually learning this morning. I am watching a lecture about the Celtic cauldron system, which is basically kind of the same concept, but developed in a different way and with just 3 cauldrons, not 7 chakras. So it's not necessary that it's chakras, okay? Find what resonates with you. If you are already familiar with chakras, I feel that this card might have come up and might talk about chakras specifically, because it's the most known system in the West. So even if you are new into spirituality or want to step into spirituality but haven't taken the first step yet, you might have very well heard of chakras anyway. And again, I feel that this sense of clearing, as in like spring cleaning, as in bring them back to life, bring them back to use. Okay. If geometric shapes resonate with you, that might be a way. But again, these are everything that the cards say, and this works for every single reading. They never give you obligation. They never force you to do anything. They never tell you how exactly the things are going to be. Tarot can tell the future, okay? What the cards do is give you advice. If that advice resonates with you, you are absolutely free to take it, think about it, and accept it, okay? If it doesn't resonate with you, you can throw it out of the window. What you really need to remember is that all of your thoughts, all of your actions, everything that you do in your life is only your responsibility, okay? It shouldn't come from the cards. It should come from your own mind. With the advice of the cards, if it resonates with you and it talks to you and it helps you, absolutely. That's why they're here, and that's why I'm here reading them for you. While I was saying this, I had in mind to say another thing and I already forgot, so okay, whatever. Oh yeah, I just want to point out, since this is something that I struggle with, that when I mean your thought, I mean your coherent thought that come from your brain, not intrusive thoughts. Those don't count. We don't care about them. And believe me, I'm not saying this in a whatever kind of way, but in a I have intrusive thoughts and I am on a mission to not give them importance and not let them influence my life. Also, spoiler alert for any of you who needs to hear this, because I needed to, and I also need to remind myself very often. I am not currently working with manifestation because OCD, but it's for my own fear, okay? Intrusive thoughts can't be manifested. Anything that's an intrusive thought can physically, literally can't be manifested into something. I just wanted to say this because, again, I needed to hear this, so maybe some of you do too. Then, next card, we have this Pyrite, and this Pyrite, again, I feel that it's a sign from Spirit that, yeah, you can do this. It's absolutely possible. Actually, it's fun because this weekend I was helping my dad planting our vegetable garden, and when we took the little plants, the baby plants, out of their their vases, those small and rectangular ones that you get when you buy very, very small plants, and I was basically taking them off of them and passing them to my dad. And I noticed that there was something that honestly really looked like pyrite. Now, if any of you know something about gardening, you can tell me if this even makes sense or not. But I honestly thought that it could have maybe be pyrite, because, you know, minerals sometimes help plants to grow. So maybe it was something that was added to the soil those plants were planted into. And I think that now pyrite coming up can be also a sign of there is possibility of growth. Okay, so like those baby plants have the chance, if the weather assists us to grow and become fully grown plants, we can have the chance to grow as spiritual queer people. So possibility to grow. And then there is The Love Is in You, and it talks both about codependency and boundaries. So for some of you, it might be important, the boundaries message, because sometimes, especially, actually, I think that this is another thing that spirituality and being queer have in common. Because I don't know about your experience. If you are comfortable sharing it with us, you can absolutely comment about it. But when I first found my identities, and this happened basically for every single identity, I didn't tell them to my family and my friends right from the very beginning. And partially it was because coming out is always a nerve-wracking experience when you don't really know what to expect. And on the other side, it was also because I wanted to fully enjoy my newly found identity in my own bubble. Like, I wanted to enjoy it by myself. I wanted to bask in it, okay, in a way. And I feel that sometimes it's the same with spirituality. Sometimes you find something, you find your path in spirituality, or you find information through a spread, and you want to keep that for yourself a little bit, because you need to completely understand and accept it and metabolize. And it doesn't mean that they have to be bad things. On the other side, if you find your path, it's absolutely a very good thing. But again, you might feel the feeling of, wanting to bask in it a little bit by yourself. And this is absolutely fine. Okay, this is absolutely fine. Spirituality doesn't have to be, even being queer doesn't have to be focused on community. I mean, there should be a focus on communities, as in communities being available. But it's not an obligation to belong to a community, to belong to a group of people who share the same ideas and practices. If you work better as a spiritual person in the privacy of your own home, that's good. That's your path. Maybe with time you will be more, you will feel safer and more prone to share this with others. Maybe it's just something that for you it's very private, and you will always keep it in your home. And both are absolutely fine. Now, codependency, honestly, it's a little bit tricky message, because I think that it could be talking about spirituality and being queer. So, like this kind of codependency bond in which not necessarily one depends to the other. So I think that this message isn't, this codependency part can be divided into two, okay? On one side, you're a queer person, you're a spiritual person, your queer identity shouldn't be defined by your spiritual identity, and your spiritual identity shouldn't be defined by your queer identity. But at the same time, they are things that coexist in you. They exist together, and of course they're going to have some common points or merge together or give each other some limits, perhaps. If there's one spiritual field or one spiritual line of thought that doesn't respect your queer identity, then of course you should, in my humble opinion, forget about it. Forget about that spiritual field, forget about that spiritual line of thought, because if you know your identity, protect it, okay? And I feel that this card is telling us that you shouldn't let one area define the other, but at the same time, there will probably be times in which it's going to be maybe not tricky, maybe not difficult, but you will have some things that you will say no to from the very start without even trying them, because they don't match with other parts of your identity. And that's also fine. And that's also absolutely fine, because we want to be queer spiritual people. Again, not spiritual despite being queer, but spiritual while being queer. So respecting both of these aspects of ourselves in the same way, okay, equally, without losing one or losing the other. Then we have Neptune. Now, Neptune talks, if I am not wrong, about dreams, about imagination, and I think also a little bit about, no, self-perception is Uranus. So, as soon as I saw this card, honestly, I thought that the message was, okay, very Lion King style, remember who you are. So, stay secure in your identity. If you know what is your queer identity, or if you know that you want to find out but you feel that you are queer or that you potentially could be queer, then stay secure in that thought, in that discovery of yourself, okay? And don't let spirituality wash it off. Okay, engage into spirituality from your secure, as in fixed, not in a meaning that it never needs to change, okay? Of course, we all know that identity can change whatever they really want, honestly. But present yourself to spirituality as who you are. You are a queer person, approach spirituality as a queer person. So I think that in one way, Spirit is answering, to the question, how can we approach spirituality as queer people, by saying approaching spirituality as queer people, as who we are. Remembering who we are and being secure in our identities or in our search of identities. And never let any spiritual or pseudo-spiritual or new age trend or concept make us doubt about what we are sure of. If we're not sure of our identities, if you want to question it, if you feel the need to question it, then it's absolutely alright. But if we are secure in your identity, but there's someone else who says, well, you can't be like, shut up. Yes, I can. I am like this and I exist, so it's possible. Okay? This kind of energy. I'm getting this kind of energy from this card. From this Neptune card, and it's also drawn in a way that it's very straightforward, pun intended. but like straight to the point. Okay, like direct, like secure about who he is. And again, it can be being secure about who you are, being sure about who you are. It can be being sure that you need to find out who you are. Of course, you don't have to have all the answers. I'm not even sure that it's even possible to have all the answers. Okay? Now, since I made this straight pun, just to say, as I said, this reading is open for everyone who's of age. I usually say, basically, pun intended, every time I say the word straight, because I am not. But I am absolutely aware that there are queer people who are straight, okay? I am absolutely not trying to invalidate that. It's just that me not being straight makes it fun every time I say the word straight, basically, to myself. I should also add that I am also asexual, so like puns are almost an automatic reflex for me. Okay, I just wanted to point this out because I don't want to invalidate anyone's feeling. Then we have The Art of the Sky. Now, I have read this, but I remember that there was a line that just whoa, and I don't remember it exactly, so I wanted to. Oh, okay, it was here. You are a channel for the creative or the original creative energy. Become the brush, the canvas, and the painter, all guided from the heart of the sky. And I feel that this card is telling us create, meaning it may happen, unfortunately, that what we see are our path, what we know is our path, doesn't exist yet. So maybe you will find out that you are called by a specific field of spirituality in which there isn't much queer presence, or in which there aren't maybe resources for queer people, or in which there are no other queer people that you know involved. And this card is telling you, do it yourself. If something hasn't been done yet, it doesn't mean that they can't be done. If the road hasn't been walked already, walk on it and open it if you want, if you feel safe and comfortable to, and open it yourself for the ones who will come after you. So I feel that this card is basically telling us maybe we're right, maybe it's going to be difficult sometimes to be queer and spiritual people. Maybe there will be some things in which us being queer will change our experiences in a way that has never been talked about before. But it doesn't mean that we should forget about spirituality. It doesn't mean that spirituality is not for us. And it absolutely doesn't mean that we have to doubt about our queer identity if we are sure of it. It simply means that maybe we are the first one who talk about it. It means that maybe we are the one who creates something new, that we open a new path. Again, this might be not for all of you, so don't feel like it's, again, the cards force you to nothing, okay? The cards never force you. But also, don't feel like it's needed, okay, to be some kind of pioneer, okay, to be able to be spiritual and queer. It might resonate for some of you, it might not resonate for all of you. This is still a general reading, okay, it's a general spread, so the cards are telling us what all the people who are listening to this, who are watching to this video, thank you, by the way, and myself included, need to hear about this topic. But of course there will be different nuances, different variations, because every person is their own person and is their own individual. Okay, so some of you may feel this call, this need, maybe even to open new path. Others maybe won't, and you will prefer to not be a pioneer of something. And both of these are absolutely valid. Okay, Spirit is telling us simply know that there also is this option. These options exist. If something doesn't exist yet, if something hasn't been created, it doesn't mean it can't be created. Okay? It also doesn't mean that it's necessarily you who have to do this. I hope that it was understandable. Now, I honestly thought that I had talked about less, but my camera is telling me that I've been talking for more than half an hour, so I think it's time to go into the tarot cards. We are using the Familiars Tarot, and then maybe we are also going to use the Tattoo Tarot. I'm not sure about that. Let's see what these cards first tell us and if we need to ask something else. Okay, so Spirit, what advice do you have for queer people who wants to approach or embrace spirituality? Okay, one. Spirit, what other advice do you have for us? Okay, and do you have another advice for us, Spirit, please? What else can you tell us, Spirit, about how to be queer spiritual people? Okay. And we have the back of the deck. The back of the deck is a Ace of Pentacles in reverse. If you have heard of coins, it's the same way. Sometimes they're called pentacles, sometimes they're called coins. Then we have a King of Pentacles upright, and then we have a King of Cups upright, and then we have a Eight of Swords in reverse. Okay, so first of all, two kings means some kind of a masculine energy. Now, in spirituality, masculine and feminine are energies, okay? They're absolutely not related to gender identity, nor to sex, nor to anything else. They are energies that coexist and that exist inside all of us. Okay, some of us might have a more feminine energy, some of us might have a more masculine energy, for some it might be a perfect balance. It can be in all the possible ways, and it's absolutely not influenced by our gender identity, and it does not influence our gender identity. Simply, feminine energy is more towards care and teaching and learning, and masculine energy, it's more about action. And two kings are probably telling us to take action, that we can't find our way as queer spiritual people if you don't look for it. And this specific card actually depicts, even if it's a king, it depicts two wolves. And it's as if one is drinking and the other is on the lookout. So I think there's also this message of the spirit and your guides from the spirit world are with you, okay? As if they're watching your back. Of course, safety in this world, unfortunately, is something that we need to take care ourselves. So stay safe in this world. But we have support, okay? We have support. And this might mean having support from the spirit world. I'm honestly feeling like for a lot of you, it's about your guides. Your guides really are ready to support you. Like they are waiting for you outside the door, completely dressed already, and with snacks to have on the way. For some of you, it might also be about someone, a human being, someone incarnated. So you might have a support from a friend, from your family, from your queer community, or you might find someone to share this journey with. Now, usually I see this card as a mix of action and not action, because masculine energy is about action, but this whole actually is basically munching on the part of the pen that you should use to write. So it's like a pause from writing, you know. But in this case, I don't know why, but I feel like it's looking at me very ironically, like, what are you going to do? Eat a pen instead of using it to write? Like, I feel like he's prompting us to do something, to take action. And specifically, since we're talking about books and we're talking about pens, it might be about learning. Learn the ways. Don't take actions, meaning take decisions, okay? Because you can't know from day one what is your path in spirituality, what you believe in, what you don't believe in, what resonates with you, what doesn't resonate with you. But you can research, learn, experiment if it's safe, and if you feel the need to, of course. So take actions in order to be able to find your way. Okay? Like, you can't get a university degree on the first day of lectures. But at the same time, you need to take the lectures in order to pass the exams and in order to get the degree. Okay? So, just because the way can be a little bit long, it doesn't mean that this start is boring or less important. There's a lot. I've actually watched a video yesterday that underlined again the importance of having the basics. So don't think that the basics, so just informing yourself and browsing around and see what are the options and what is spirituality and trying to find what resonates with you. Don't think that it's less important, because it's absolutely important and it's necessary for you to be able to take actions later. And then we have an Eight of Swords. The Eight of Swords, all the swords cards, the numbered swords card in this deck, honestly feel to me as a connection between spirit, as if there's this spirit realm and earth realm that can get along with each other, you know. Sorry. And most of the times I interpret this as receiving messages from the spirit realm. But in this case, especially since it's upside down, so the card might be telling me it's not the usual meaning that you give me. It might be about the coexistence of two things that sometimes interact with each other, sometimes don't interact with each other, but they can absolutely exist at the same time in your life. So specifically, of course, being queer and being spiritual. And then we have this Ace of Pentacles that tells me that for some of you, it might not even be... Okay, let's say it like this. For some of you, you might be already into spirituality, like you might have tried already to research something, to inform yourself about something, to learn about something. But even if you don't, because the 8 is the beginning, and here we have a beginning in reverse. But even if you don't, wanting to learn more and wanting to approach spirituality already is something. In the moment in which you want to approach spirituality, you are already not the beginning, because you already know what you want to do. So you're not starting fresh, okay? You know what you want to do. It's a matter of how. And I know sometimes that's the most difficult part. But it's as if this card is saying the path has been opened already. It is open already. You can walk on it. You can go on. You don't need something. You don't need something special or something, some grand gesture, okay, to mark the start of your spirituality journey. You're interested in learning about spirituality. Your journey has already started then. In the moment in which you start informing yourself, you are already on your journey. Of course, this is not an obligatory journey. So, as always, if you want to take this path, you can take this path. If you don't want to, don't. It's absolutely all your free will who needs to decide. Now, I also want to point out that we have 2 cards of Earth, ruled by Earth, one ruled by water, and one ruled by air. Pentacles, specifically, are ruled by Earth, and they represent everything that is concrete, okay? It's even more intuitive when they are called coins, because coins are literally something concrete. But even when they're called pentacles, they are about the material world, okay? The earth world. And a earth world in reverse tells me that it's something that it also involves the earth world, okay? And I see being queer and your identity and living as a queer person as earth life, because it's about our lives, our lives on earth. But at the same time, it's in reverse. So it's not only, and specifically this deck, when it's in reverse, I always feel there's this connection with spirit that it's been talked about. So something that also has to do with spirit, with spirituality, okay? So the merging spirituality and earth life together. And then we have also another card of earth. And again, because these paths will probably mostly be about how we can live our lives on earth as spiritual and queer people at the same time. So it is actually very earth focused, even if everything is earth focused because we are living on earth, okay? But I feel that the elements is much more important in this card, because there's really this merging of earth and spirit. And then we have the King of Cups, and Cups are ruled by water, and they talk about emotions. So it might be some kind of, spoiler alert from the cards. We're telling us you will need to be in touch with your emotions. Or simply being in touch with your emotions will be useful for you. So maybe it's not necessarily, but it's helpful if you are in touch with your emotions and you understand your emotions well, and you are open to feel them. Opening up, okay? Be open to feel what you feel, even if what you feel is frustration because you can't find other people like you that want to be both spiritual and queer, because we exist, okay? We absolutely exist. And even if the feeling that you're feeling is frustration, as my coach says, don't let it drive you. So don't let it make you believe that actually it is impossible. But if in that moment you're feeling frustrated, you're frustrated. It's absolutely fair. Okay? Just don't let it drive your whole life. And about this topic, not about the topic of emotions, but about the topic of feeling lonely in this path, now in this reading more than any other, if you feel comfortable and safe to, I would love if you use the comment section as like community building field, okay, as metaphorical and digital picnic in which people who share the same struggles and the same characteristics can interact with each other and support each other if you want, or simply know that we are not alone. And of course, I will also be interacting with you guys. Then we have these Eight of Swords that is about air, and they are mostly about either mind or conflict. And in this case, I think that they're telling us, being in reverse, to not get too stuck in our minds. So it's an 8. So thinking it's important, especially in this kind of situation. Thinking is important. Being sure that what you think is what you think, and not what someone else's think, is absolutely important. But at the same time, don't overthink. Don't get stuck in your mind, okay? I feel like the message is, don't get stuck in your mind. And when I was saying it, I got the message and forget to leave. So don't get stuck in your mind and forget to leave, okay? There's also this kind of message, yeah. And I also just gotta be strong with yourself, or for yourself, or be strong, be yourself, something like that. And I feel that it links into being secure of who you are, and into being secure in your wanting to embrace spirituality without forgetting about our queer identities. Yeah. Okay, I feel that these cards have told me everything I could know, everything they needed to tell me. So now we are going to use this other tarot deck, the Tattoo Tarot, the Archangel's cards, and these Starseed Oracle. This actually is a very good example of being spiritual without forgetting who you are and without damaging who you are, because I got into the Starseed theory and the Starseed world, and I got this deck before learning about the issues with it, and after learning about them, I decided that I, as a neurodivergent person in this case, don't resonate at all with the Starseed theory. So it's not something that it is in my practice. Simply, I don't engage with that type of content. I already had this deck, and it actually have messages that are very sweet, very comforting, very reassuring. So I use these without the Starseed component. If you haven't noticed, I basically skipped reading a part of this card because it was specifically about the Starseed world, and it's not my world. But the other messages, I feel that it would be a waste not to use this deck at all. So I just wanted to give you this example. Now we are using these 3 decks to ask Spirit to give us a message to a message to finish this reading and to feel a comforting message, you know, a support message, something to feel secure, something, yeah, a message from Spirit. So Spirit, what message do you have for us to finish this reading? Okay, I'm not sure, let's see. So Spirit is this card for us. Yes, Spirit is this card also for us. No. Okay. So this is our card. And it's a Four of Wands, which basically is the only suite that we were missing. And it talks about fire. And with these diamond, I get the image of something very shining, very, yeah, very shining. I have this image of sunlight reflecting off a diamond or something like that. And also flowering and growing, and this message of things that fit together, like things that yeah, they fit with each other, but it's four, so it's not even that difficult to make them fit with each other. It's actually easier than we think. So probably Spirit is saying it's actually easier than you think. It's less complicated than you think. And I think that it's telling us that both of these sides, so being spiritual and being queer, or being queer and being spiritual, as you want to see them, these two roses can both flower at the same time and can both be in bloom at the same time. And they can both be in an image of shining and brightness. Yeah. I think this is a very hopeful message, a very liberating message in a sense. I feel like a burden has been taken off my shoulders. I feel like I can, you know, breathe more deeply. I have this feeling of either a spring afternoon or the feeling that you have in summer, when you know there's this heat and there's this strong heat, and then there's a storm, and after the storm the air is finally fresh and you love to feel it. I have this feeling. Yeah. Spirit and Archangels, what other message do you have for us to finish this reading? Okay, so this third, Spirit is this card also for us. Yes. So we have two cards. And we have Overcoming Difficulties, Archangel Jeremiel. The worst is now behind you and you are surmounting any previous challenges, which is a beautiful message. And then we have Hello from Heaven, Archangel Azrael. Your loved one in heaven are doing fine. Let go of worries and feel their loving blessing. So yeah, there's definitely someone who is looking out for us from the spirit realm, and it might be also some family members who passed over, or loved ones intended as your spiritual team. So your guides, your angel, your spirit animal. Okay. I feel that these cards are very, they have their own messages already. So I'm leaving them for you to connect with them how it makes sense for you. So spirit, okay. I hadn't even finished asking. Okay, we have two. Okay, this card is for us. Spirit, is this card also for us? Nope. So just the one that was on the top. Star brothers, star siblings, protection, loyalty, safety, and trust. So this specific card, as I was saying, it's about the Starseed Oracle, so about star family and all things that I don't go into. But I feel that the message still is a message of protection, of not being alone, of being safe, of being secure, of trusting that you are all these things. And of course, stay safe in the real world, because that's the sad reality of our world, of the Earth world. So yeah, I think there's a very community-like feeling. Yeah, a message of you're not alone, don't worry. Even if you feel like you're alone, you're not. Which is beautiful. And which is something, honestly, that I think all of us need to be reminded of every so often. But these readings is finishing here, so I thank you for staying with me through this reading, and I invite you, if you feel comfortable, to comment about your own path, about who you are, about what you want to do, and let's create this net of spiritual queer people. And if you don't feel comfortable but you want to support my work, you can like or follow. And if you are not in a safe position to do either of things, maybe because you have a shared account or anything, don't worry, it's absolutely no obligation, no hard feelings. You actually have already supported me by watching my video. I will leave you my social medias account in the description if you want to follow me and connect with me also on Instagram. And I just want to thank you a lot for listening to this reading and for coming into this reading and being part of this reading. Of course, I want to thank Spirit and the Archangels and Neptune and all the energies that gave us messages today. And I want to reiterate the fact that some of you guys have very strong and very protective, in a good way, guides. I just have this feeling. Yeah. Like someone, when someone, you say, they're my ride or die. Someone who's just along for the ride, someone who's supporting you no matter what. That's the feeling that I'm getting by some of you guides. Which is beautiful. And probably also by mine. Which is actually very on brand with her. But without further ado, thank you again, and I will see you in the next reading. Goodbye.